Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Tea and Talk English podcast. I'm Mark, and I'm here with my lovely co host, Jessica. Finding your dream job might seem straightforward, but research shows 85% of people worldwide actually feel disconnected from their work. Today, we're exploring how to beat those odds and land a role you'll truly love.
Those numbers are pretty shocking. What do you think drives that disconnect between people and their jobs?
Well, from my experience working with career counselors, it often comes down to people focusing too much on salary and title, while overlooking crucial factors like company culture and growth potential. I learned this lesson the hard way when I showed up to an interview at a law firm wearing khakis and a polo.
Oh no. Tell me you didn't actually do that.
So here's what happened. I walked in, saw everyone in full suits, and the receptionist's raised eyebrow told me everything I needed to know. But you know what? That embarrassing moment taught me something valuable about professional presentation.
That reminds me of a fascinating study I read showing that candidates have just 7 seconds to make a first impression in interviews. How do you suggest people maximize that crucial window?
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that because professional image consultants actually break it down into three key elements. 55% is visual presentation, 38% is voice tone, and only 7% is the actual words we say. That's why mastering these professional English phrases we're about to discuss is just part of the equation.
Hmm, those statistics really put things in perspective.
Let me share some power phrases that can transform your interview presence. Instead of saying I helped with, use I spearheaded or I implemented. Rather than I'm good at, say I have demonstrated expertise in. These subtle shifts can dramatically impact how hiring managers perceive your capabilities.
You know what's fascinating about language choices? Studies show that candidates who use action oriented vocabulary are 60% more likely to advance to second interviews.
Speaking of advancing in interviews, let's talk about dress codes. According to recent HR surveys, 74% of hiring managers have eliminated candidates based on dress code violations before the interview even began. Here's the breakdown. Business professional means dark suits, conservative ties, polished shoes. Business casual allows for khakis or dress pants with collared shirts.
And what about these emerging hybrid dress codes we're seeing in tech companies?
That's actually a perfect segue into something interesting. Tech companies are leading what experts call the smart casual revolution. About 67% of tech firms now explicitly state they prefer candidates who dress business casual for interviews, even though their daily dress code might be more relaxed.
Well, that certainly challenges the traditional dress for the job you want mindset.
Exactly right. And here's another surprising finding. Virtual interviews have actually made dress code even more critical. Studies show that 82% of hiring managers pay more attention to appearance in video interviews because it's one of the few professional signals they can clearly evaluate.
That's exactly why I always tell people to dress completely professionally for virtual interviews, not just from the waist up.
You know what's really interesting about virtual interviews? Research indicates that candidates who maintain eye contact with the camera for 60 to 70% of the interview time are rated as significantly more engaging than those who don't. It's all about finding that sweet spot between engaged and natural.
Those are such specific metrics. How do you suggest people practice these skills?
Well, here's my three-step approach based on professional interview coaching techniques. First, record yourself in mock interviews to analyze your body language. Second, practice the STAR method for structuring responses: situation, task, action, result. And third, prepare at least 5 substantive questions that demonstrate deep company research.
Speaking of preparation, I've seen data suggesting that candidates who research companies for more than 3 hours before interviews are 50% more likely to receive offers.
That's fascinating. And it ties perfectly into what career development experts call the preparation pyramid. At the base, you have company research. The middle layer is role specific preparation. And at the top, you have those distinguishing factors that make you memorable.
Hmm, could you break down that pyramid a bit more?
So here's the detailed breakdown. Company research should include financial performance, recent news, and cultural values. Role preparation involves matching your experience to job requirements using specific examples. And those distinguishing factors, they're unique insights or experiences that set you apart from other candidates.
Those insights are incredibly valuable for our listeners who are job hunting right now.
And here's something that might surprise people. According to recent employment data, the average person will change careers, not just jobs, but careers, 5 to 7 times in their lifetime. That's why it's so crucial to develop these foundational job seeking skills we've discussed today.
Well, that certainly puts things in perspective for anyone feeling stuck in their current role.
Let me wrap this up with some final statistics that I find encouraging. 91% of people who land their dream jobs report that it wasn't their first, second, or even third position. It's about the journey and learning from each experience along the way. Remember, whether you're wearing that perfect suit or mastering those professional phrases, every step is moving you closer to your ideal role.
Those are such empowering final thoughts to leave our listeners with today.
Thank you all for joining us, and remember, your dream job is out there. It just might take a few perfectly matched socks to get there. Before we close completely, I actually wanted to touch on something we mentioned earlier: dress codes in different countries. Because what's considered professional really depends on where you are, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I remember interviewing in Japan once, and the level of formality there completely blew me away. Everyone wore black or dark navy suits, white shirts, and even their hairstyles were conservative. It's part of a broader cultural value called seiketsu, which means cleanliness and neatness.
Right? And compare that to somewhere like Sweden, where even in corporate settings, people might wear jeans and a blazer. It's more about minimalism and showing confidence rather than formality.
Exactly. And that's one of the biggest cultural differences. In some countries, dressing formally shows respect for the interviewer, while in others, dressing too formally can actually make you seem distant or inflexible.
That's such an interesting balance to strike. I've also noticed in North America, especially in creative industries like marketing or design, there's a trend toward what people call personal branding. The idea is that your outfit can reflect your creativity and individuality, but still look polished.
Yes, that reminds me of something a recruiter in New York told me once. Dress like your future boss, but make sure you still look like you. That's such great advice for anyone unsure how formal to go.
Let's give our listeners a quick tour of interview dress norms around the world, sort of a global style guide.
I love that idea. So let's start with the UK. What do you think?
In the UK, tradition still plays a big role. For corporate jobs, suits are still standard, and especially dark colors. But there's a certain understated elegance, nothing too flashy. Accessories are subtle, and shoes are always polished.
And in the US, it's similar but slightly more flexible. For example, in Silicon Valley or tech startups, smart casual is often totally fine. Think chinos, a clean shirt, maybe a blazer, but no tie.
True, then in India, interviews tend to lean formal too. Even in modern industries, appearance shows respect and discipline. A neatly pressed shirt, clean shoes, and professional grooming are a must.
And in South Korea, there's a lot of emphasis on uniformity and neatness. Candidates often wear almost identical black suits and white shirts. It shows humility and seriousness.
Meanwhile, in Australia, you'll find a much more relaxed approach. Comfort is key, but neatness still matters. Even if the vibe is casual, showing effort is always appreciated.
And it's not just about what you wear, it's also how you communicate. In some cultures, direct eye contact is seen as confident, but in others, it might come across as aggressive.
Exactly. Like in Japan or Korea, too much eye contact can feel uncomfortable. Meanwhile, in the US or Germany, it's essential for showing engagement and honesty.
The same goes for small talk. In the US or the UK, interviewers often start with casual conversation, like asking about your day or the weather. But in places like Germany or China, interviews tend to jump straight to business topics.
That's such a good point. Understanding those cultural nuances can make a huge difference in how you're perceived. It shows emotional intelligence and adaptability, both key traits employers love.
Let's go back to something we touched on earlier using strong, action based language. I think it's one of the biggest challenges for English learners in interviews.
Yes, instead of saying, I was responsible for, try I led or I managed. And instead of I worked on a project, say I delivered a project. It's more confident and active.
Another one, instead of, I tried to improve sales, say, I increased sales by, and then give a number. Specifics are powerful.
Numbers speak louder than adjectives in interviews.
Absolutely. And tone matters too. Speaking too fast can sound nervous, but speaking too slowly can sound unsure. The trick is to sound calm and confident, almost like you're having a professional conversation with a colleague.
Before we wrap up, let's give our listeners a quick summary checklist for international interview success.
All right. Number 1, research the company culture. Is it formal or casual? Number 2, dress one level more formal than what people typically wear there. Number 3, practice your body language. Sit tall, smile naturally, and maintain appropriate eye contact. Number 4, prepare clear examples of your skills using the STAR method. And number 5, be authentic. Because confidence comes from comfort, not pretending to be someone else.
That's perfect. And remember, even if you don't get the job, every interview is a learning experience. Every no gets you closer to the right yes.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Let's quickly go over some useful vocabulary and expressions we use today to make sure our listeners can fully understand and use them.
Great idea. Let's start with company culture. That means the shared values, behaviors, and atmosphere of a workplace. Basically, what it feels like to work there.
Then we mentioned professional presentation. That refers to how you appear, behave, and communicate in a professional setting. Your visual and verbal image.
First impression. The immediate opinion someone forms of you in the first few seconds. In interviews, it's crucial.
We also talked about dress code. That's the set of rules about what you can and can't wear at work.
Smart casual. This is a mix of professional and relaxed clothing. For example, jeans with a blazer or a neat blouse with trousers.
Then there's body language. That means nonverbal communication, your posture, gestures, and facial expressions. And my favorite phrase from today, the preparation pyramid. It's a structured way to think about interview prep, starting from research, then role preparation, then personal branding.
Finally, authentic, meaning true to yourself. Genuine, not pretending. That's one of the most valuable qualities you can bring to any interview.
So, whether your next interview is in New York, Seoul, or Stockholm, remember the best impression comes from being both prepared and authentic.
That's right. You can't control every question you'll get, but you can control how you present yourself. With confidence, clarity, and a smile.
Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Tea and Talk English Podcasts.
Don't forget to follow and subscribe for more English listening practice and cultural insights.
Until next time, stay confident, stay curious, and keep learning.
Morning sunlight filters through the blinds. We settle in, hearts and curious minds. Porcelain mugs cradle words we shared. Stories steeping in the rising air. Tea and talk where our worlds collide. Sip by sip we take the ride. Pour your thoughts into this space. Every voice finds its place. We wander through the highs and lows, unravel tales in quiet flows. Between the sips and whispered lines, we find our truths in steady times. Ooh, every pause is room to breathe. Confessions tucked in every leaf. A cup of warmth can heal a heart. Together here we're never apart. So join the circle, pull up a chair. Tea and talk will meet you there.